August 1st, 2025. The world wakes up to a seismic shift in global trade. In the White House Situation Room, tension is palpable. President and top advisors huddle over intelligence briefings, weighing the risks of a bold move. On the screens, global markets spiral into turmoil. News outlets scramble to cover the story as stock indices nosedive. The US has just slapped a 50% tariff on Brazilian goods, an economic declaration of war, not a negotiation tactic. Brazilian exporters are stunned as shipments grind to a halt. Officially, the White House claims the move is about politics and the Bolsonaro trial, but behind closed doors it's clear, this is a direct challenge to the BRICS bloc's rising influence. In Congress, lawmakers argue fiercely, while in Brazil, officials scramble to respond. Commodities markets, coffee, soybeans, iron ore, plunge into chaos. Brazilian producers, from farmers to miners, watch their livelihoods threatened in real time. The administration frames it as defending American interests, warning that any nation moving away from the dollar or US-led trade will face overwhelming force. Some US business leaders cheer, but others fear supply chain disruptions and higher costs. This is a dramatic escalation, targeting not just Brazil but all BRICS members: China, India, Russia. Within hours, BRICS leaders convene emergency meetings, determined to present a united front. The US believes its economic might can force compliance, but the world has changed. BRICS nations are now economic powerhouses with growing influence in global markets and alternative trade networks. As the first day ends, Washington officials watch the fallout, aware they've fired the opening shot in a new global conflict. US allies scramble to assess the risks, while uncertainty spreads across continents. The world holds its breath, waiting for the BRICS response. Social media and newsrooms buzz with speculation. What comes next could reshape the global order. September 19th, 2025. The world is on edge. While a massive, coordinated BRICS-wide tariff retaliation hasn't erupted, yet clear signals of pushback are emerging. The bloc presents a unified political front, with leaders standing shoulder to shoulder at the emergency Rio summit. At the summit, BRICS leaders issue a joint statement condemning the US tariffs as economic coercion and a violation of global trade rules. South African President Mbeki declares, "We will not be bullied into submission." China's Premier Li and India's Prime Minister Singh call for a fair, rules-based system, denouncing protectionism and warning of measured, strategic responses. Behind closed doors, the bloc is already taking action. Emergency meetings are underway to coordinate sector-specific responses. China has announced new export licensing requirements for rare earth minerals, sending shockwaves through global tech markets. Russia, meanwhile, is tightening energy contracts with select Asian partners, hinting at possible supply cuts to the West. Brazil is deepening its economic ties with China, fast-tracking agricultural and tech deals, and shifting trade away from US partners. While internal divisions remain, India and Brazil are cautious about full-scale escalation. Targeted, asymmetrical retaliation is already in motion. Brazil's new tax office in Beijing, opened just days ago, signals a pivot away from Western financial channels and a commitment to alternative trade routes. With new BRICS partners like Indonesia and Malaysia, the bloc's economic power is growing. Indonesian President Rahman states, "We stand ready to defend our interests and support our partners." Early economic signals are flashing, commodity prices are spiking, shipping rates are volatile, and Western companies report sudden regulatory hurdles in BRICS markets. The world's media is on high alert, watching for the next move. The absence of an immediate, all-out retaliation doesn't mean it isn't coming. The counterpunch is being prepared, one calculated move at a time. If this standoff erupts into a full trade war, the US faces severe consequences. A 100% tariff on BRICS imports met with retaliation could slash hundreds of billions from US GDP and trigger a recession. American consumers would see prices spike on everything from electronics to food, adding up to 2% to inflation. Exporters would lose access to massive BRICS markets, devastating for farmers and manufacturers. Small businesses, unable to absorb higher costs, would be hit hard, leading to layoffs and closures. The pain would ripple through the economy: higher prices, lost jobs, and shrinking investment. This isn't just a corporate problem. Workers, families, and communities would all pay the price. The cost of conflict would be felt in every corner of America. Experts predict that the US GDP could contract by up to 1.5% annually if the trade war persists. Real-world examples are already emerging. Factories closing, workers being laid off, and small businesses shutting down. Economists warn that the long-term impact could be even more severe, with potential for a prolonged economic downturn. Families are already struggling to make ends meet, and community support groups are seeing a surge in demand. Across the nation, Americans are voicing their concerns, from town hall meetings to local news reports. Economists and policymakers are urgently seeking solutions to mitigate the fallout and stabilize the economy. The escalating US BRICS trade war is sending shockwaves through the global political landscape, forcing countries to reconsider old alliances and adapt to a rapidly changing world. Instead of isolating BRICS, US tariffs are driving these nations closer together and attracting new partners like Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and even some African economies eager to diversify their alliances. Brazil and China's partnership is now described as indestructible, with China pouring billions into Brazilian infrastructure and industry. Meanwhile, Russia and India are deepening energy and technology ties, further strengthening the BRICS bloc. New trade corridors are emerging, bypassing US influence and building a parallel economic system that challenges the traditional Western-dominated order. Financial markets are on edge. The threat of BRICS retaliation is already spooking investors, with volatility spiking across global exchanges. According to financial experts, the uncertainty is driving capital outflows from emerging markets and increasing risk premiums worldwide. If BRICS nations begin trading in their own currencies, the US dollar's dominance and America's financial power could erode. Analysts warn that de-dollarization would fundamentally alter the global financial system, making it harder for the US to finance its deficits. A weaker dollar would mean higher borrowing costs, rising inflation, and less global influence. For the US financial experts caution that this could trigger a cycle of tightening credit and economic slowdown. Fragile supply chains could collapse under new barriers, causing shortages, production halts, and logistical nightmares for companies worldwide. Market analysts predict that industries from tech to agriculture could face months of disruption. The result? Economic chaos, market crashes, and a global crisis with unpredictable consequences. Financial commentators warn that the ripple effects could be felt for years, reshaping investment strategies and national economies alike. This is more than a trade dispute. It's a seismic shift in the world order, with experts agreeing that the balance of global power may never be the same again. A full-scale trade war with BRICS is daunting, but the US economy has proven resilient in the face of past global shocks. The nation's diverse industries, deep financial markets, and innovative spirit provide a strong foundation for weathering economic storms. The BRICS response may be fragmented, with some nations choosing targeted tariffs and others seeking diplomatic solutions. This gives the US room to negotiate, form new alliances, and leverage its influence in global trade. The US government can deploy aid, retraining, and incentives to help affected workers and industries. Programs to reskill employees and support innovation in manufacturing are already being expanded, aiming to keep the workforce competitive and adaptable. The Federal Reserve could adjust interest rates to fight inflation or stimulate growth, while fiscal policymakers consider targeted stimulus packages to cushion the impact on households and businesses. Targeted subsidies could keep key sectors, like agriculture and tech, competitive. Investments in research and development, as well as support for small businesses, are crucial to maintaining America's edge. American companies may adapt by shifting supply chains to countries outside the conflict, like Mexico or Vietnam. Businesses are also investing in automation and digital tools to increase efficiency and reduce reliance on vulnerable trade routes. Exporters could seek new markets in Africa or Latin America to offset lost BRICS sales. Expanding into these regions not only diversifies risk but also opens up fresh opportunities for growth. Rising prices might boost demand for US-made goods, fueling a Buy American movement. Public sentiment is shifting, with more consumers eager to support domestic businesses and reduce dependence on foreign imports. These measures offer hope, but none are easy or guaranteed. Business leaders and workers alike face uncertainty, and public opinion remains divided on the best path forward. The outcome depends on how quickly and decisively the US acts. With coordinated government response, business innovation, and public support, the nation's resilience will be put to the test, but history shows America's capacity to adapt and overcome. The world stands at a crossroads, facing a new era of economic uncertainty. As the dust settles from the initial shockwaves, experts warn that the coming months could see even greater volatility in global markets. Will BRICS escalate with coordinated retaliation, launching a new wave of tariffs and trade barriers? Or will they opt for targeted pressure using diplomacy and selective sanctions to force concessions from the US? Some analysts predict a mix of both, with back-channel negotiations running parallel to public posturing. Meanwhile, US industries and consumers are bracing for impact. Economists forecast rising prices, supply chain disruptions, and potential layoffs in key sectors. The big question, can American businesses adapt quickly enough, or will mounting pain force policymakers to reconsider their approach? Global institutions like the WTO and central banks now face a crucial test. Some experts believe they could broker a truce or at least contain the fallout, while others warn these bodies may be sidelined as nations pursue their own interests. The stakes are enormous. Is this the beginning of deglobalization, with countries turning inward and redrawing trade routes? Or are we witnessing the birth of a new multipolar order, where emerging powers like BRICS reshape the rules of global commerce? Leading strategists suggest we could see new alliances form, and even the rise of alternative financial systems. The conflict is about more than tariffs. It's about who sets the rules for the 21st century global economy. Some forecast a prolonged standoff, while others see an opportunity for innovative agreements that could redefine international trade for decades to come. For now, the world can only watch, wait, and wonder what comes next. But one thing is certain. The decisions made in the coming weeks will shape the global economy for years to come. Thank you for joining us on Universal Insight. Today, we explored the significant impact of BRICS tariffs on the US economy. To stay informed and ahead of the curve, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for instant updates. Don't miss out on our in-depth analyses and expert insights. Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay ahead. As the BRICS-US trade conflict intensifies, the consequences are reverberating far beyond the borders of the countries directly involved. Around the globe, nations are recalibrating their trade policies, currencies are fluctuating, and global supply chains are under renewed pressure. Take Germany, for example. As a major exporter, German industries are feeling the pinch from reduced demand in both the US and BRICS markets. Meanwhile, Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam and Indonesia are seizing new opportunities, positioning themselves as alternative suppliers in disrupted global value chains. Financial markets are responding with heightened volatility. The London Stock Exchange saw a sharp dip in multinational shares, while central banks in emerging economies are intervening to stabilize their currencies against unpredictable swings. Expert analysts warn that the longer the standoff continues, the greater the risk of a fragmented global economy. According to Dr. Maria Chen, a leading trade economist, we're witnessing a realignment of alliances and supply chains that could reshape international commerce for years to come. As the global ripple effects unfold, staying informed is more crucial than ever. We'll continue to track these developments and bring you the latest insights on how the world is adapting to this new era of economic uncertainty. In the face of these turbulent global shifts, you might be wondering, what can you do? First, stay informed. Follow reliable news sources and expert analysis to keep up with rapid developments in global trade and economics. Consider subscribing to financial newsletters or setting up alerts for key market changes. Second, if you have investments, review your portfolio. Diversification is crucial during uncertain times. Spread your assets across different sectors and regions to help manage risk. Consulting with a financial advisor can provide tailored strategies to safeguard your financial future. Third, understand the broader implications. Trade wars don't just impact governments and corporations, they can affect job markets, the prices of everyday goods, and long-term economic stability. By staying aware, you can better anticipate changes that may impact you and your community. Finally, join the conversation. Share reputable information with friends and family, and engage with online communities to exchange perspectives and strategies. In a rapidly changing world, being proactive and connected is your best defense. Remember, knowledge is power. By staying alert and prepared, you can navigate these uncertain times with confidence.